Hi, I'm Kathy from Eclectic Images and thanks for joining me today. Today's card is going to use stenciling as its main technique feature. I saw a picture in a magazine recently where they'd done a smudge of background colour and then stenciled in the same colour. And I thought, oh, that looks really good, but I wanted to take it a step further and double layer the stenciling. So we're going to use two different stencils to get an even better look, and two different ink colours but in a matching family, so we can sort of get a bit more layered look. And then I'm going to use our Pooch stamp as our central image because he's a bit cute. Okay, so let's have a look at our products for today. So we've got Pooch. Now Pooch was designed that he could be a Doberman or a Weimaraner or a Vizsla, even a Dalmatian, just depending on how you colour him in. So he's quite a versatile Pooch. Then teamed with him, we've got two stencils. So we've got this lovely one from Scrapbooking'n'craft, which is like waves of different sized dots. So you can see there's loads of potential there. And then with the Eclectic Images stencil, I'm often using these size ones, the bigger circles, for suns and moons in cards. So I want a chance to play with maybe either the smaller one, and I ended up going with the smallest because it teamed with this rather nice. Now our inks are Versafine, Clair, Nocturne for our base stamping. And I've decided to go with Stone Blue and Cove Blue for our shading. The sample one that I've got here that I was playing around with, I used Eucalyptus and green tea, and I thought they were a good mix together, but I just thought I'll do blues on this one just so we can see a different look. Okay, so let's get started. Using Cotton Blend as our base card. So I've got Cotton Blend and Pooch already loaded into the stamp platform. So we'll ink him up with our Nocturne. Our base card, we're going to use some of the Uniquely Creative cardstock and sand it back a bit to distress it. So I'll show you that once we get up to that layer, but that'll look really cool with this card too. Okay, let's pop that over there. I'll just grab my stamp baron so I can give it a nice push. Let's have a look. Not quite dark enough around the eyes, so let's give it another ink. That's certainly one of the advantages of using the stamp press, is that I can always go back over if I'm not quite happy with something. Okay, good push over that centre bit where his eyes are. Let's see how we went. That's better. Okay. Now I also have a mask that I've made of Pooch. And as you can see, it's quite a well-used mask. So this has been cut out of a post-it note. And we'll pop that over the top there. Now the only thing I need to be a little bit careful of is because it's cut to a straight edge down there, I don't actually want him finish as a harsh line. So when I did my other sample one, I ended up shading a bit of the green up into him to sort of stop that being a harsh line. I think here what I'm going to do is lift the mask off as I do the blue around there. So we'll start off with the Stone Blue as our background colour, and I'm going to use a a larger size blending brush for this. And I'm not sure if this one's recently been rinsed, so I'll just test it on my scrap, and it's not too enthusiastic, so we can afford to ink it up a bit. So I'll start at the mask, and I'm going to work a bit on the diagonal. So we'll shade up from there. So this gives us a lovely base to the card. So I'm going to cover all the area with this where I think I'll use the stenciling. Let's turn it around a bit. Ink up there and work a little bit down his side. And now, yes, I'm going to lift that mask up to do this bottom area so that I don't get that harsh line. Now, I will need to be careful then when I watercolour the Pooch that I don't end up, because this is a water reactive ink, so I don't end up bleeding into the blue too much. So what I might do is actually not do the stenciling yet. I think I'll colour Pooch in next, then he can dry, and then our dots aren't going to get blended in with him. So let's do a bit of watercolouring on Pooch, and I'm using some of the Pentel brush markers for this, in particular the sepia colour for colouring him, and you can see where it's got some shading to give you a bit of a guide as to where is good parts to add some shadows. So I'm just colouring that onto my mat a little bit, and then I can pick up some with my water brush, just test on my hand that has got some water flowing, and it has. So let's start off, and I do have a bit of paper towel standing by just for cleaning my water brush out. Okay, so we'll start off on an ear. Now I'm imagining that the ear might be a bit lighter on the top part there, where the light's hitting it. So I might start putting my colour down here further. Shade it up and then just add more colour as I feel I need it. Again, let's go down his neck. So I just move the card around so that I'm colouring with the point of the brush up to the edge of the lines. That way I'm far less likely to go outside my edges. Now when I get down in the bottom here, I'll have my brush a bit clean and I'll just do a little shade there. It'll probably mix with some blue, but if we just gently shade it, we should get away with it. Okay, now he's going to have some shading in underneath his jawline there. So I'll pick up some more colour and bring that in underneath his jaw and underneath the ear. There's definitely areas where there's going to be some shadows. So I can push a bit of the dark colour up under there and then drag it out where I want it to be a little bit lighter. And of course, when I'm getting near the end there, I'll just fade out to almost nothing. Now you can see I've got a little bit of a line forming there with the blue of the background. It's always a bit of a question when you're doing watercolour backgrounds or watercolour colouring. What do you do first, the background or the foreground piece? Here I'm thinking probably would have been easier if I'd done the foreground first and then just done the shading. But what I'll do in a moment is bring my brush over and do a little bit more shading with the blue. Not that I'm pretty happy with that little blend there. Okay, let's grab some more colour. So I'm colouring him a little bit darker than the previous card, just to show that you can vary what you do with him. Because as well as being a specific breed, he could just be a bit of a hound dog. Who doesn't love a hound dog? Oh, look, isn't he gorgeous? Let's put a bit up on here. But I want to blend that out a bit because I do like a bit of lightness up there where he would be naturally a little bit highlighted. Then we can come in and add a little bit deeper where we can see there's going to be a bit of shading. And again, I've got an outside edge here, so I'll turn the card around so that the tip of my brush goes right up to that edge and then far less likely to go outside the edges. Let's come in and shade a bit closer there, give a bit deeper colour into that side. Just wipe my brush clean if I need to be able to do some blending. Or I could have a second brush, like have a broad brush on the go, so that I'm applying colour with one brush and then blending it out with the other. But if you've only got the one brush, just clean it and then come back in to finish your blending. Just get a bit more colour in that spot there. And I now feel I've got that a bit dark compared to there. So let's just add a little bit more shading around there. So I'm just now looking now if I've got any lines that I'm not happy with and just going over those. And then I do want to deepen his nose. We'll give him a little. I was going to leave him with a little white chin, which would make him look like an older dog, but I've decided to give him a. It still is a bit paler than the rest of him. And we've got a Rottweiler Staffy cross who's mostly black, except this little white bit on his chin, which is very cute because he's getting to be a bit of an older dog. He doesn't think so yet, but maybe a little bit darker still on the nose. Now I can see I'm going to get a line there. If I don't work that a little bit. There we go. So there's my Pooch. So quite a bit deeper than... So he looks more like a Vishla and he looks more like a Weimaraner now when I compare them. So yes, you can colour him any way you like. I'll let him dry a little bit before I do his eyes, just in case the card's damp there at all. I don't want the blue from his eyes bleeding out into the rest of the card. So we'll let that dry for a tick. So while that's drying, let's do some more stenciling. So I'll come in with the stone blue, which was the one we used for the background colour. We'll come in with a bit of that and just shade that bottom area a little bit. And you can do as much or as little as the background shading as you want to, really. So I might add a bit more over this side, so I'm getting more of that diagonal look that I want. Okay, let's switch now to the Cove blue, which is a couple of shades darker than stone blue. And a very cool colour. Now when you come to doing your stenciling, we'll mask the Pooch again because I don't want circles all over him. So let's put his mask back on again. And in fact, to help that, I could also grab my little magnetic workstation and pop that underneath my page. Pop him over the top, making sure I can feel the workstation. I'm not right on the edge of it. And then pop a magnet on there, and that's going to help hold that mask in place for me. I'll have to move it now to put the stencil on, but first I'm going to work out what part of the stencil I want to use. So I'm looking at this part of a wave. And I think I want the heavier part going down there. I don't really want a straight edge though, so I'll vary how much of that I use. So let's pop that there so I can slip that out and pop it over both. And now to do the applying of colour for a stencil, you can use a smaller blending brush, so that's the medium size, or you can use one of our Future brushes. This is a size 10. Now, Future brushes, anyone who's seen me working with Future brushes before, usually have really long handles, and they've recently released recently released the number 10 size as a kids range, and they've done it with a shorter handle, which I think is brilliant. Perfect for us. Just ink it up, just inking the end of the brush. Just going to circle out a bit just to take any that's too intense off, and then we'll come now. I could do this in, I could have done it in the stone blue as well, or I can do it in the Cove blue, but do it very softly, and then when I come in with the second stencil, do it a little bit stronger. So I could do either way. You could do the base layer of stenciling in the lighter colour and then your last stenciling in the stronger one, or just do the stronger one but do it 2 different values. So let's add a bit more over this side as well. So I'll come in with a bit there. Now let's look at what I might like to do up the top. I think we'll use that section there so I can get it quite wide. I better move my ink pad so I don't actually sit the stencil in the ink pad. So I'm looking at that. Going up to there. So pop the magnet on there. Pick up a bit of our ink without putting your fingers in it. Take off a bit of intensity and just gently shading. Let's have a look. I like it. Okay, we'll leave that there for that one. Now let's come in with the smaller size. That's our Pooch in the background. He does a wonderful job of barking at every rabbit or possum or anything and letting us know that we're very safe. So now I'll shade a little bit stronger so that we do get this layering effect by having different values of colour. And I can let it overlap some of the other circles. So you get this look where you've got circles coming out from within circles. I'm liking just the 2, but I'm thinking rule of 3. Do I need 3 up there? I'm going to do the lower half and then come back and see if it needs a 3rd one up the top there. Let's do one out the side of him. So I'm still taking a little bit of ink off the brush because although I'm wanting a bit stronger than the previous colour, I still don't want it to be too dark. This is still just a background effect. And I mean, you could combine, I've combined circles with circles, but you could do anything. You could do circles and some swirls. You could do circles and like a grid mesh pattern or something. Like this, you could team all sorts of different ones together. Let's just pop you there to keep you all in place while I think of what else I might like to do. I have just a little bit off the corner there. So look at your stencils in a different way and see which ones could I use together to get some really cool effects. I'm actually going to remove the mask now and do one coming up to here. It's actually going to overlap him a little bit. And I'm actually doing it a little bit darker on one edge and then letting the other edge be softer so that I can still see the pattern of the smaller ones through it. So now I've technically got 6 circles, so I definitely haven't gone uneven numbers, so I think I will put another one up the top there. Just got to work out where. Let's mask him again. I have another one coming out from his head. And again, I'm going to shade it dark in one spot and then go softer so that I don't lose the smaller dots that we've got there. Cool. Okay. All right, let's take our mask away and see what we've got. The brown and the blue works very well together. I was pretty happy with the browns and the greens, but I really like the brown and the blue. Right, let's colour his eyes in. So we'll do those in a blue. I mean, technically they probably should be brown, but they'll stand out more if I do them with blue. And it's artistic license. You can colour him with orange eyes if you want to. It's our piece of artwork, isn't it? Okay, now let's have a look at our background card. So with our background card, I've chosen, out of the Uniquely Creative cardstock, I've chosen the Whispering Wall, which is this nice mid-tone brown. But the joy of the Uniquely Creative cardstock is it has a white core. So once you sand it, you get that white core showing through and get this wonderful distressed look. So I've just got my sanding block and just gone over that card until I get that distressed look that I want. So it's very easy. It looks fabulous if you run it through an embossing folder too, and it takes the colour off where the pattern is. Let's have a look at how well he's going to line up, and that colour is just going to suit him beautifully. So let's put on some double-sided tape. Checking if I've got an acrylic block handy to tear the tape with, and I haven't, so I'm going to use the edge of an ink pad. Sometimes you just do what you've got to do. Okay. Don't know about you, but I have one finger that I prefer to be my one for lifting tape up, and if I break the nail on that one so I can't lift the tape, I'm really lost. Very odd. Okay, let's have a look at layering Pooch onto this base card. So again, I'll just check the borders that I've allowed myself. So I'm looking at, I've got the top and the bottom border about the same, nice and parallel. And then we can smooth it down. And we've got our gorgeous card. Sorry, Matthew, I didn't warn you that I was running away with that one. So how cool does the blue look? And that multi-layering of colours. And let's bring our green one into shot as well with our paler colouring of the Pooch. So it just shows some of the variations that you can get. And that would look just as good over that dark brown distressed looking backing card. Okay, so that's Pooch, and here again, I'm just bringing the label with the Pooch in his packaging back in. There he is, coloured as a Doberman. So he is a wonder of, do I say a wonder of disguise, or is he a wonder of the just different looks? Anyway, that's our card for today. Thank you for watching and being with us, and we'll see you again next time.